You want to be someone with self-respect. For the likes you chase, they don't mean anything. You want to feel something that is sincere. And the words you say will be the spear that strike the lies they're telling us are the truths. Welcome to Death Metal Pug. I'm Puganoid. I want to be a rock star when I grow up. The purpose of this is to have fun and talk about music. If for some reason we can help out your band, project, or business, please reach out to us at deathmetalpug@gmail.com. Death Metal Pug does not have social media, and you should just go outside. I'd like to thank Michael Achfeld for being on last week's episode. Hello to anyone new on the channel, and what's up to everybody who's always been here. Just some last thoughts on JDAWG. In hindsight, I wish I would have watched his videos. Mistakenly, I thought it would actually be better to go in without seeing any of his videos, as I thought it would be more genuine. My strategy was to get prepped up by a few folks who watched the dog a little, but I completely missed the tone of that show. In preparation. I think the show is trying to be like, you know, tough, sincere, true metal kind of thing, and obviously that's not my style, but I've been around, you know, those kind of tough metal persons for years. I couldn't hear real well for that one. We were doing a Zoom, and I did the Zoom from my phone. Our meeting was early in the day, so it was like 3 o'clock here, Central Time near Chicago. And it was just me, it wasn't the whole crew, so normally I don't tinker with that kind of stuff. We can record guitar to like our even like the video, the camera, but the Zoom did not pick up the sound for some reason, so you know that kind of sucks. And yeah, I guess I'm making excuses, and the team told me I got fucking annihilated in the comments section. Everything from like serial killer to youth pastor, and I was just glad that, you know, it was some extremes. Instead of coming across like, hey, this old guy's boring, which was probably the only thing I thought it would come across as, but appear to have had an impact in a different kind of way. I'm so old that I actually remember being homosexual was an extreme metal topic and almost like a counterculture acceptance viewpoint. Nowadays, I guess maybe that's the opposite or something. So, you know, just to apologize to JDAWG and his whole like crew of devils for not being serious.
I have 5 cats.
I want to, we wanted to come up with the top 5 names for JDAWG's cats. So, runner-up names first. These did not make the cut. Meowtalica, Ozzy Pawsborn, Mummified in Hairballs, and top 5 names for JDAWG's cats. Number 5, Purina Hook Sodomy. Number 4, Till Death Do Us Purr. Number 3, Paws of the Crucifix. Number 2, Fur Beyond Driven. And the number 1 name for JDAWG's cats, Pawanoid. Get it? Like Black Sabbath? Pawanoid? Finish with... Were the comments that bad? Soen released its new album January 16th, and I'm a fan. I'm a fan of the band Soen. I was able to catch them twice on the last tour for Memorial, both in Chicago and then a suburb of Chicago called Joliet out here. Both of those were within a couple of months, but the tours were announced separate from one another. Both were headlining tours as well. I gotta tell you, this Reliance album, it is not vibing with me yet. It's a little too mellow, and I did not expect, you know, blasts from this band. That would be something a little unusual based off of its past. But this one, it really is very, very like kind of easy listening so far. So I need some more time to see if it sinks in. So far, I'm not really caring for it, but almost all of their stuff in the past, I've really been able to vibe with. So maybe it'll kind of click, in the next coming like days, weeks, or months. So we'll see. So heads up, someone released a new album, Reliance. Fuath released 3 January 2nd. Fuath is a Scottish atmospheric black metal project founded in 2015 by Andy Marshall of Saur, S-A-O-R, created as an outlet for harsher, more traditional black metal rooted in winter mythicism and early second wave influences, I would say. Fun fact, so Fuath, F-U-A-T-H, means hatred in Scottish Gaelic, I believe that's pronounced. They've got a 3-album discography, as you might have guessed. In each of these, they really only played a couple times in like the UK or maybe Scotland or something, but it's primarily a studio-based project. 2016, 1 was released. 2021, 2 was released, and then right at the beginning of the year here, 3 was released. 4 songs on this thing, 43 minutes of music. So they're similar songs, right? The first track may be the best because it's basically like old school tremolo pick guitars, and the first track on the album feels the freshest because when you first press play on the thing, it's kind of like has like kind of a neat effect, right? So it's like a distant tremolo, that black metal, and kind of cool. I mean, there's snow in Illinois here right now, and this like cold, clean, like mountain air type of music just kind of fits with the seasonality, in my opinion. Interesting music for the background or for the foreground if you really want to dip into it. Check out Fuath 3. German Shirt this week features the band Yotuma. This is a Madison, Wisconsin-based death metal band. Their new album, The Final Void, is really good. Came out in 2025. Kind of like a less pretentious Defeated Sanity, I guess. I like track 2, Sunken Dynasty, and I like track 3, Sphincter, Dremel, Jabba Shots. Jabba Shots! Jabba Shots! People think I'm an AI? Is that a compliment? Gore Embrace are an American death metal band based in Chicago, Illinois, formed in early 2020. It's funny how you can be into metal and then kind of like miss a band in your own backyard. Speaking of Jeremy, he already saw Gore Embrace last year, and he sent a picture of the shorts to prove it. They draw influence from death metal acts such as probably like Suffocation, Pyrexia, Defeated Sanity, Skinless, and Internal Bleeding. So I think you kind of know where we're going with that. Lyrically, the band explores, themes like horror, gore, grim reality, psychological states, I guess. Typical of the death metal, brutal death metal subgenre, if you will. Their album that came out last year in 2025, The Presence of Malevolent Soul, that came out January 17th. The label is Iron Fortress Records. This debut full-length album, just crushing riffs. I don't want to say like slam in the sense of like slam, but what you used to understand to be like slam kind of riffs for the genre. Death metal grooves for sure. Brutal vocals. Definitely some technical elements, a little bit of atmospheric elements. Some funny like little tidbits thrown in there. I caught a little bit of a soundbite from This is his name, Frank, from Sunny in Philadelphia. That was kind of cool. Prominent tracks, I would say, on this thing, if you want to test it out, check out the songs Cold is the River and Residual Self-Image. Understand recording and production for this debut was handled locally in Chicago with engineering by Andy Nelson and mastering by Brad Boatwright at Audio Siege, known for work with numerous heavy metal acts over the years and stuff like that. Artwork was done by Dom Padon. So this band, Gore Embrace, check this thing out. One of those ones like we missed last year. There's just so much awesome bands that this is something to check out. Chicago based. Keep an eye for them coming on tour. They got to latch on to something this winter, I suspect. Somebody's going to pick them up. And they're going to be out touring. Gore Embrace. Gore Embrace. Gore Embrace. Gore Embrace. Gore Embrace. So we're going to try a new thing. We're going to try a metal history kind of segment thing here. So the very first band we want to talk about with this metal history segment is the band Master. Master is an American extreme metal band formed in 1983 in Chicago. Widely regarded as one of the very first death metal bands in history. Founded by bassist vocalist Paul Speckman, Master began at a time when thrash metal was still taking shape, making their sound unusually aggressive, raw, and forward-thinking for the era. Now, the early Master demos, particularly the one Fucking Death in 1985, are often cited as proto-death metal blueprints, predating many better-known Florida and European death metal releases. Despite strong underground recognition through tape trading, Master struggled to secure a record deal in the 1980s, leading to multiple lineup changes and a temporary dissolution. Now, in late 1980, Speckman relocated to Czechoslovakia, which is now called Czech Republic, I think, where Master was revived and finally released their long delayed debut album in 1990. So you gotta understand the time frame back then. People didn't just have like the ability to record everything and just kind of put it out. Now you can do it on your computer, you can do it in your bedroom, would kind of be the cliche, but back then just didn't work that way. You couldn't just pop it on the internet, you know. From that point forward, after that, I mean, they became a pillar of no-frills, old-school death metal, known for like short, aggressive song structures, hardcore punk influences, I'd say, politically charged and anti-authoritarian lyrics. Unlike many of their peers, Master never softened or modernized their sound, remaining fiercely underground and prolific for decades. Paul Speckman has remained the sole constant member and driving force behind the band. So these early demos, right, like 1985, and I think when you pull it up on the apps nowadays, it's just going to say like Master on it. They had like a rehearsal demo in 1985, which wouldn't have been that uncommon. The one called Fucking Death, cited earlier, one of the more prominent demos in death metal history, just from a timing perspective, predates a lot of the genre-defining albums. And, you know, they often get cited along with Death and Possessed as like, you know, one of the originators of death metal. Then in 1987, you have the Master demo, more refined versions of the earlier songs and several tracks that appeared, you know, on the debut EP. Wouldn't have been uncommon to like repackage a demo into a full length and stuff like that back then. So studio albums, for reference from a timeline perspective, 1990s Master, 1991 On the Seventh Day God Created Master. They had a lot of EPs and splits and releases. 1993, The Spirit of the West, 94, and Epiphany of Hate. In 1994 as well, Requiem for a Dead World, short, violent release there. Kind of transitional, you know, between albums at that time. Mid to late 1990s output, 1996, Collection of Souls, 98, Faith in Season. 1999, there's a rather infamous Master Macabre split. Talk about like a combination of Chicago death metal royalty, right? Understand this is a highly sought after album by collectors and things. It's funny how the timing of stuff works out, right? We've got prior videos talking about like the age of extreme metal. Being very young, and JDAWG actually cited this as the reason why like metal is more popular, he felt now, or at least they sell more than in say 2006 was the time range we cited. You know, that felt like an old band in 1999. You think about like all the kinds of metal and stuff coming out during that time, and how many of the bands had like ended or were starting like different eras, if you will. Then for Master, the 2000s were kind of a revival era, actually. In 2003, they released The Human Machine. In 2004, Punching the Wall. And 2006, looks like they released a compilation album called Masterpiece. So that included demos, rare tracks, and alternate versions of songs, basically. During the 2000s, late 2000s, I should say, to 2010s, they cranked out albums. 2008 had Slaves to Society. 2010, The Human Machine. Which, you know, this is all very kind of messy. You really have to get in the weeds to kind of like sort some of this out. As far as like timing, right? It's like some songs were created and then brought back or added again to albums and things like that. 2012 had Alive, Dead, Hanging. This was a compilation album as well. 2013 had a studio album called The Witch Hunt. Many of the earlier Master songs were written years before being released, making album dates a bit misleading without the context, especially kind of like how far back their demos went with versus like compared to like when they actually released something. This kind of gets at that whole like genesis of like Exodus's album Bonded by Blood, like when it was thought out, created, made versus when it actually like had the ability to be released. And don't forget, like you couldn't just pull it off of a internet or electronic. Like you have to obtain like an actual tangible thing. So depending on where it was distributed from, it's harder to get stuff from Europe, for example, back then. And I imagine Europe might have had a harder time getting it from the US too. I don't know, because I was on the US side. A little bit more info. Paul Speckman's side projects that he is closely tied to Master's legacy included Death Strike, Abomination, and then Speckman Project. I don't actually know Speckman Project. I have to look that one up. So why does the band Master matter? Master isn't just early death metal. They are foundational death metal. Their demo era material predates Scream Bloody Gore. It predates Seven Churches, and it predates most of the like Florida, what we come to know as like the Florida and Scandinavian death metal stuff. They represented death metal before it had any rules or anything like that too. So I think it's kind of interesting to point that out. So really, like a lot of those bands that were kind of evolving at that time, they probably traded around. They were probably in those circles. They probably all hear this and get kind of pumped up and think about different ideas to kind of lead and create and end up with how we have death metal here today. So that wraps up our death metal history section on the band Master. That's it!